Pretties, welcome to my Role. So, I missed my upload on Sunday. Sorry about that, guys. But my mom came from out of town, and I was going to film a video, but then last minute I was like, I don't know that I have enough products to do this. So I was trying to do a 10 most disappointing products from 2020, but then I realized I don't have enough products to do that. So I don't have enough things that I tried in 2020. I just absolutely hate it. So here we are. The opposite of that, and that's going to be my favorites from 2020. Not everything came out in 2020. Some things did, some things didn't. Regardless, I am really happy that all of these came into my collection, and I can't imagine my collection without them right now. Before we get started, please do not forget to like and subscribe so you can become a resident of Role. This is the last wrap-up video. Actually, no, I need to do my makeup inventory. That's gonna be like my last wrap-up of 2020 video that I have to do. I wanted to do a disappointing ones, like I mentioned before, but I just, like I said, I just didn't feel like I had enough of those to do 10. And I was thinking about doing 5, but then I was gonna do 10 favorites, so I just knew that that wasn't gonna work out. Anyway, let's just get started. This is in no particular order, but let's just go. I'm gonna start with a product that I don't think anyone thought I would ever put in a favorites video, which is a bronzer. And the reason for that is because if you saw my ranking, my makeup routine, bronzer was ranked very, very, very low. Bronzer is not something that I usually look forward to, like I know a lot of other people do, and it might just have to do with my skin type. I am naturally bronzed, thank you Jesus, but that's because I'm Hispanic, so I have a natural tan to my skin, so I don't feel like I need to overly bronze. And I've mentioned this before, I don't like it when people have and you do you, if this is the way you like to your bronzer, you do whatever you gotta do. But for me, I don't like the way it looks when people have very significant bronze or contours on their face when it's too defined, when you can clearly tell it's 5, 6, 7, 10 shades too dark, or just completely different undertones. If someone has a very orangey red bronzer, but they're very golden olive cool toned, and it's it's just too dark, and I just don't like that. I feel like, in my opinion, bronzer should be about a 2, maybe 3 shades darker than your skin tone, and it should match your undertones so that it's not so in your face, But anyway, that's just my preference. So this Milani bronzer completely changed the game for me. It is very neutral. It's not cool per se, but it's very neutral, which I have a neutral olive undertone. So I do like the way this looks on me, and it's just slightly darker than me. This one's definitely a little bit lighter than what I would say it would be for most people. This is a shade and a half, maybe 2 shades darker than me. Nothing too dark, but it's very easy to build it up if I want to build it up. And I just feel like it gives a really nice contour. It's almost faded on my skin right now, but this makeup's end of day, so there's that. Anyway, I really, really enjoyed this bronzer, and it's completely changed the game. I think it does something very similar to bronzing and contouring at the same time, and I really appreciate the duality of it. So I'm putting that one as one of my top 10. All right, if you know me, you know I love blush. So this should not be a surprise. This year I tried the Persona blushes for the first time, and I am loving the living hell out of them. I have not used Georgia, which is this one right here, nearly as much as I've used Caramel, because Caramel has gotten some love. I ended up putting it in my Roulette Pan collab, and I actually ended up having to put it away the last week or week and a half, because I was I just won't stop reaching for it if I don't put it away. But these two have gotten so much use out of me. I really want to get the terracotta one. Not right now though. I am in a no buy for the first 6 months of the year. So potentially if I were to finish a couple of blushes, which I am actually somewhat close to finishing one of them, I could potentially purchase that one. I would be interested in it. But these two are just beautiful. Very cool tone, neutral, very warm tone, but still very wearable and neutral. Really, really, really loving the hell out of both of these. And if you know me, I love blush like nothing else. I feel like there's nothing that warms up your face and just brings life to you more than a blush. Blush is just beautiful. So love those. Talking about more blush, I love this blush, and it's very, very different. The reason why I'm holding on that terracotta one, because I do feel like the terracotta one is somewhat close to this one, the one from Persona. This is more like a neutral rose, but there's like a slight warmth to it. The terracotta is definitely more orange, but I feel like it's a similar tone. Beautiful, beautiful. This one is very pigmented because this was a collaboration, ColourPop. I didn't even say what the product was. It was the Proceed with Caution Shayla X ColourPop. Now, if you know Shayla, Shayla is African-American woman, so she's dark, a lot darker than me. And so she wanted something that was very pigmented that would show up in her skin tone. And so this is actually very pigmented. I do have to go with a light hand in order to not go crazy with it. But I love the rosiness of it. Like nothing else. I naturally just reach for this blush. So, yes. I do want to say that this year, I just want to give it like a shout out overall to like Persona Cosmetics, because Persona came for me in a way I never thought a brand would come for me before. I tried one gloss and one of their eyeshadow palettes at the beginning of the year, and I just fell in love with the formula and the performance. And I personally do not follow Sonia, who is the founder of Persona Cosmetics, but her formula is so good, and it's somewhat affordable considering they're supposed to be more high-end products. Really, really fell in love with them. So you're going to see a lot of Persona Cosmetic items, including the next one, which is the Persona Cosmetics highlighter. So this reminds me quite a bit of my favorite highlighter, which is Becca Opal. The reason why it's not quite the same, this one's slightly more golden and a little more intense, but it can be shared out and it looks very natural. It's not glittery at all. I do still prefer the Becca Opal. However, I really enjoyed this year. It came out last year. However, I tried it for the first time this year, and it really, really, really fell in love with it. Really like it. I do think that if you are my skin tone or lighter, this might be too dark for you, but they do have other shades that they have available. Sorry guys, I felt like I had to sneeze, but then like went away, so I'm just struggling today. Let's start with a complexion product. This product came out this year and just came out the left field for me. It is a Pretty Fresh foundation. I've heard so many good people like rave about this, and it's people that I wouldn't expect would like this. Now, I personally have very dry skin, and I usually lean towards more light coverage, products. So I do like to share this one out a little bit, but I've heard a lot of people that like more high coverage products that I've really enjoyed this. I have people that I know have oily skin that have enjoyed this. I've seen online people that have like a lot of acne scarring that still really enjoy this. So I don't know what it is of this product, but I feel like you will probably love this. Now, I have heard some people have, bad experiences with it. Most of the people that have extremely oily skin, so if that's you, you probably won't like this, or if you do, you're gonna need to set it. Personally, I have dry skin. This looks very nice on my skin. It looks almost blurring. It's hydrating. It's just great. My biggest default is the undertones of this line are a little insane. I don't know how to explain it, but this is supposed to be a neutral. Okay, this is a neutral, but it's rose, it's pink. Okay, I don't know how else to say it. It's pink. So I am gonna try to finish this. It's in my Partners in Cream project pan. So I'm trying to finish this in my Partners in Cream project pan, and then try to repurchase this in the 80W shade. This is the 85N. This is way too rosy, and I'm not rosy at all. I thought it was going to be neutral, but whatever. I have 2 lip formulas that I want to share with you guys, and we're like halfway through, so let's try to get through it. One of them is RawBeauty. As you know, RawBeauty came out this year, and 2020. RawBeauty did come out in 2020, and I did try their blushes. I tried one shade for their blush, and I do really, really enjoy it. The reason I didn't put it on here is because I haven't made up my mind, and I don't feel like I picked the most wearable shade that I could have worn. I really feel like I should have gone with Bliss, but I heard that the formula that I got in the satin one was better formula. So anyway, I feel like I should have got a different shade. And I just don't reach for it that often because it's very corally, and I just feel like you have to like match that look, and I don't always go for a coral look. But their Tinted Lip Balm, or whatever you want to call them, they're beautiful. These are 100% a dupe for the ColourPop Just a 10, so don't feel like you need to purchase something this expensive to be able to get a similar, effect. However, I do prefer these over the Just a Tint. They're just as thin, but I feel like this one is slightly more hydrating and it's super easy to apply. I have the shade Support, which is like a nudie, but there's like a slight plumness to it, like a slight warmthness. It's really hard to explain. I really enjoy this formula. The packaging is a little weird, you know, because it's like metallic, so it's attached. It's like it's not gonna come off, but at the same time, it's like doesn't stay on it. So it's just a little slightly strange. And I'm always trying to like match this thing to the center, but it like moves around, so it just throws me off. Anyway, regardless, I really do enjoy it. It's super comfortable when I don't want to think about it, when my lips are feeling a little chapped, but I want some color in me. This is the one that I'm usually reaching for, and I really like it. Another really comfortable formula, threw me by surprise, is the Persona lip glosses. So I have 3 of her lip glosses, and all of them are very consistent across the board. I have pink, hibiscus, and shortcake. I do want to try something that's slightly warmer because I feel like pink, it's obviously pink, and this one is like a nude, but it's slightly like a pink. I want to get something a little more warm, so I definitely want to try that. By far, the hibiscus is my absolute favorite lip gloss. There is like this like deep reddish undertone that I really like. It looks a lot more sheared out on the lips, and it's really easy to like pair up, and you want to wear red more often, but you're scared to like go too intense like I am right now. This is the best way to go about it, and this formula is so hydrating because there's a lot of lip glosses that can be like they dry you out, you know what I mean, or they're too thick and they're hard to reapply, or they get stuck to your, you know, to your lips and stuff and your hair. I have never had that issue with this glosses, and I've really enjoyed this formula. Really happy I have them. Last year, eyeshadow, because if you know me, I went a little crazy with eyeshadows this year. About 10 palettes, which I know we're saying 10 palettes, that may not be too many in the YouTube world. I've seen people that reviewed 40, 50, 80 eyeshadow palettes, but I feel like you also have to keep in mind that I only own 22 eyeshadow palettes. So I basically doubled my eyeshadow collection in 2020. That's a problem. Granted, I did like declutter some and I gained some, but I still went a little crazy in 2020. That being said, I have 3 eyeshadows I really enjoyed. They're all like, let me just get into it. First, we have the At First Sight from ColourPop. Now, I have heard some people say that they're having a hard time with this formula, and I think because I don't remember, but I think Kristi says some of them are pressed pigments. You cannot treat pressed pigments the same way you would treat like a, you know, like a regular eyeshadow. It's gonna be harder to blend. You really need to pack on the color and then blend the edges. Just gonna put that out there because I have heard some people that are saying they're having some issues with like the buildup, them fading away and not blending and all that stuff. I really think that you need to treat this like a pressed pigment palette and you won't have that issue, which is pack the color, at least with the darker, more intense ones. I personally have treated the lighter shades as just regular eyeshadows, and it's fine. I really wish though this West Coast wasn't in there. I just don't reach for yellowy golds like this. If it was more like a champagne gold, I probably would reach for it more, but like just yellow gold, it's just not me. I do like that there's this like dark, you know, black in here. I just wish it didn't have like little red glitters. It's just not my jam. Regardless though, I really enjoyed this palette and this color story, and for me, because I don't know if I'm just used to, you know, pressed pigments, I really enjoy it. I will say though, this is not a beginner friendly palette because of all the issues that I've heard other people having. Like I said, I personally haven't had those issues, but maybe I just knew how to work with it, which if you're brand new into makeup, you might not know that. So anyway, really enjoy this palette. This next 2 should come to no surprise to anybody because I ranked them at the top of my eyeshadow palettes. I ranked them as if I could only keep, you know, kept them in my, if I could only keep 5 eyeshadow palettes. I ranked them at the top for the palettes I tried in 2020. I love the fuck of this palette. And that's gonna be 1% Identity 2 palette. I've mentioned I do own the Identity one, but I am having some issues with 2 of the shades. Specifically, just the undertones don't go well with my undertones, and they just look slightly muddy on my skin tone. I have been able to make it work with one of them. I figured out a way to make it work, but the other one, that one is definitely a cool brown, and in my olive skin tone, does not look good. But this palette, let me just tell you that this is the best black I have ever tried. I've done a like black smoky eye with this black. I did not need to wet it. I did not need to put a wet base underneath, and it applied so smoothly. This shimmers, I'm sure you've heard a bunch of people say this before. You do not need to wet brush. You do not need to use your fingers, and you're gonna get the most intense pigmentation even if you go in. Sorry guys, I don't know why my voice is cracking. Even if you go in with like a dry brush, you're gonna get most intense foiled metallic you've ever had. Also, this is so smooth. These are not metallic, these are not glittery, these are so smooth. They look like melted, metal. That's the other way I could describe it. Also, there's some very unique shades in here that I really enjoyed. Sorry guys, I'm like strolling today, I don't know why. I really enjoyed this shade right here. That is Driven, which is the green. Really love that. I actually really enjoy this little plum shade right here. I think, especially if you have brown eyes, it just makes your eyes pop right at you. Independent over here in the corner, beautiful gunmetal shade. This shade right here, Loyal, is a really underrated transition shade, I feel like. It's definitely neutral, doesn't look too cool, too warm, but it just blends right into the crease. These shades are super blendable, super easy to build up. They do have enough pigment straight off the bat, so like don't go nuts, but if you wanted them to be more intense, you absolutely can, and you're going to be able to do that super easily. So this palette was just a standout for me. The formula, Persona Identity, is a bold statement for me, but it is the best formula I own. I think Persona Identity and Persona has really good formula. I also like the L'Oreal Los Angeles formula. I don't have any eyeshadows from L'Oreal Los Angeles from this 2020 favorites, but I've mentioned them so many other times, so it's okay. They just deserve a break. And lastly but not least, ColourPop's Jaded palette. I waited a really long time to get this. So in March, when the Milani collection came out, I was eyeing this palette. I had been eyeing it. Some people have raved about this palette, and I was like, I don't know if I should like go for it or not. And then finally I was like, I'm gonna place an order anyway for the Milani collection. I'm gonna place the order for the So Jaded as well. So I got it, and then of course I go into the ColourPop shutdown, and I don't end up getting it till like June I think, and I ordered it in March. This palette reminds me a little bit of the RawBeautyKristi palette, at least in the color story. Not quite. The color stories are obviously very different. Like this is, I feel like, is a smaller version of this one, if that makes any sense, but there's a lot of dupes within it. However, this one just has so many, much more versatility, as well as just like specific unique shades that you just don't have here. I feel like the only like unique shade that you have in this RawBeautyKristi palette is Evergreen right here. I think that's the only, because it's a duochrome, and nothing else is really quite overly unique. It's just this kind of like color story is not common, which I really enjoy. But anyway, however, on this palette right here, there's so many unique shades. I will say I absolutely hate that there's 2 glitters here, because I don't like glitters in my eyes. But let's put that aside and not think about that for a second. This Tiger Eye is like the best gold olive green shadow I've ever had. It's the only one I've ever had like that, but it's so unique to my collection. I really do enjoy Fluorite. It has just this like lavender, like pinkish, it's like shimmer. It's so beautiful. I don't have anything quite like that in my collection. I don't have anything quite like Period either. I have something that is somewhat similar, but it's more like olive green, where this is more like a lime green. I don't have anything quite like that either. I don't have anything like Alexandrite in my collection, not at all. I don't have anything like Onyx. Onyx, I mentioned this before, I love putting Onyx all over my eye, and it literally, when I look at my eyelids, it feels like I'm looking at the galaxy. I don't know. It looks very dark, and a lot of people have mentioned that this might be a black. In my opinion, absolutely not. This is like a navy blue with like a lot of different like silver, bluish, like sparkles in it. And they just shine like stars, and it's absolutely beautiful. I really, really love that. I don't have anything quite like aquamarine. I think there's something somewhat similar in the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe, the original, that I do enjoy. I don't have these cool tone shades. I don't reach towards cool tone, but this is slightly manageable. Like, even when I wear these cool tones, they don't look muddy in my eye, which is unheard of for me. But there's some cool tones like stoned right here. There's another one, I just can't see it now. Anyway, the point is, this palette is Chef's Kiss. All hail the ColourPop queen, Kathleen Knights, because she just did an amazing job. And I've never personally have bought anything from her other collections before, and I don't know that I ever will. But this right here, this was awesome. I really, 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 really enjoy this palette. So I'm just gonna put that away because I think I've read about this enough. But that is it, guys. Please don't, got it. My teeth. Okay, please do not forget to like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed my favorites from 2020. I'm sorry there was no video on Sunday, and I will not be having a disappointments video, and I'm okay with that. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.